the food.
Well, buckle up.
Back in the old time machine.
13th century. Texture, taste.
Very fishy.
Preservatives. Cornish pasties.
Oh my god, I'd never even thought of that. The themes of empire, mission, inheritance, and destiny.
Hello and welcome back to What the Food, the podcast that uncovers the history of the world through food. My name is Miles Dickinson, here with Andy Cantor and Dom Gray, and welcome to Eat, Pray, Obey, the worst cult diets in history, part 2. Here we are, part 2. We're going again and again and again.
Here we go again. So last time we choked down the despair diet of Jonestown, pondered the planetary escape plan fueled by boiled veg and shit Nike trainers, courtesy of Heaven's Gate. We saw how starvation, restriction, and downright bizarre food rituals aren't just side dishes in these movements. They're the main course in controlling the flock. Yeah, pretty horrendous stuff last time, wasn't it?
It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
A lot of shit food, detachment from enjoying food, and a lot of narcissism.
You don't really get applesauce in England, do you? It's not really like a thing. Like, you get it when we have like a bit of pork, maybe.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's my only thought of it, is pork.
In America, it's more like a pud. Like, they get like a little tub of...
Oh, really?
They just raw dog it. They just eat a pot of it.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the same as our condiment. I think it's more pudding-based.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Applesauce, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I just thought they were cracking open a Coleman's jar of applesauce.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think they come in like the little plastic, pudding cups.
Right, yes. This was Heaven's Gate, wasn't it? And this was them having a little alien goo mouthful of applesauce to sustain themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. So on part 2, we're heading back for more punishment. We're going to start our little excursion in Japan to meet Aum Shinrikyo,
Good name.
where enlightenment apparently came one miserable grain of rice at a time, before unpacking the world of Mormon food storage.
Mormons.
Yeah.
From stockpiling to the wobbly wonders of Jell-O salads. But first, we're going to Japan. My favourite cult. The best cult, I think.
This is your favourite, is it?
It's got a good
It's
name.
my favourite, I think. So Aum Shinrikyo, the religion of Aum's supreme truth. It was founded... Sorry, do you boys know? Have you heard about this cult before?
Vaguely, yeah. Didn't they... were they the ones that were doing like terrorist stuff in Japan?
So.
Yeah.
In Japan. Yeah.
This is the one I know least about, I think. I think I've literally seen like a little clip about it and maybe read a little article. But yeah.
That's great. This is going to be fucking great then. Right, so...
This is going to be fucking
Aum
great.
Shinrikyo. Yeah. Founded in 1984 by a bloke called Shoko Asahara. So Big Shoko was a legally blind yoga instructor and massagist.
Masseuse.
That's my cock. Get off it.
Masseuse. So yeah, masseuse. That's my cock.
So matter of fact. Excuse me, sir. That is my cock.
I know you're blind, but that's not what I paid for.
He also did acupuncture as well. I think it's quite a common thing in Japan, or it used to be a common thing in Japan, where blind people did these sorts of jobs.
No.
The last type of person I want having sharp, prickly things pushing him into me. He's not going to know where he's putting it.
Fucking jabs in your eyeball.
or Daredevil is fucking blind, and look how good he can move about.
Now, that is a fair and reasoned point. You know what? I withdraw everything.
Yeah.
Is it? Is it a Marvel character?
He was legally blind, but technically he could see slightly out of one of his eyes.
That's cheating.
And he actually, this is a bit of an aside, but he actually went to a blind school growing up where everyone was actually properly blind. So he had a bit of an advantage over the kids and like bullied them and made a load of money out of them because he like took them to get their haircuts and things like that and would do that for money. So yeah, blind yoga instructor turned into a apocalyptic lunatic. His pitch was a blend of Buddhism, Christianity, sci-fi, good old-fashioned World War III. It wasn't always called Aum Shinrikyo, the cult, by the way. Another aside. It was originally called the Immortal Mountain Wizard Association.
That's sick.
That's way better.
That's freaking great.
Way better.
Why didn't they keep that?
Good. I know, right? I know. So yeah, for this cult, think kind of like yoga class meets nutty conspiracy forums online with kind of a dash of James Bond villainry thrown in for good measure. So it's a mix of those. So the group, whose name is often shorted to Aum, gained official status as a religious organization in Japan in 1989. So they're legit. They've gone down the proper routes of democracy to get their status. At its peak, had tens of thousands of followers.
That's a lot.
It's a big
not
one.
niche.
Not
Pretty mainstream.
Not niche at all.
So what's the name of it? Shinrikyo.
Correct.
AUM space, isn't it? Then it's Shinrikyo.
Yeah.
So what is that? What's that translated to? Do we know?
I think it's like Supreme Truth.
Supreme Truth. Okay.
Yeah. So they had loads of members, right? Tens of thousands of members. But here's the kicker. They weren't drifters or dropouts or, loners.
Usual cult members.
Educated. Yeah, exactly. They were educated types. They were engineers, they were chemists, they were doctors, they were university students, IT support guys. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Shame on them. They should have known better then.
Shame on them.
They should have known better. But, it shows you how quickly things can change. 1 minute you're debugging a bit of HTML, the next you're brewing nerve agents for a blind yoga wizard.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound exciting. It sounds like a quest or something, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it does.
Oh my God.
I'm just going to quickly share a picture. We'll share it in the socials for everyone, but I just want you guys to see what Aum Shinrikyo looks like. So here's the founder.
Oh, wow. Okay.
As you can see,
Are we sure?
definitely Japanese.
Yeah, but he's a large man.
Yeah.
He's got height to him.
That purple one where he's got his foot right up there, isn't he?
So when he was coming up, he mastered the art of hovering, which I think essentially just jumped and got people to take a picture at the right time.
I was going to say, if he'd actually figured that out, he should have shared it with us.
Yeah, because in the 80s, we had fairly decent cameras at that point that could take a photo of someone in midair.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't use that as proof that you can float.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, interesting looking dude. And he's really growing this cult to a point where they're making billions of dollars. Like it's a proper cult. They've got AK-47 factories. They're obviously, it's engineers, chemists and doctors. So they're able to create nerve gas. They're able to create chemical weapons. Anyone that speaks out about them mysteriously disappears. And it's also, this cult reaches its peak at the perfect time where the Soviet state is collapsing. And all of these Soviet scientists that have been working on various different chemical weapons and bombs,
dangerous
and
things,
like that, are out of work and maybe need to feed their families.
Yes, any local cult who might need this expertise.
Yep, exactly. And there's also a fire sale on all the communist, all Soviet shit, tanks, helicopters, all that sort of shit. He buys a load of it.
It sounds like something from James Bond, this.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, mate. Insane, this goal. Insane.
I'm going to join mass cult in Japan.
In Japan. Yeah, well, you maybe forget that Japan is actually connected to Russia.
Yeah. So hop, skip and a jump. What was the kind of benefits of joining? Like, say I'm, a Russian meathead AK-47 engineer. What do I get from joining up? What's the benefit?
Well, you will get to be part of a cult that is very nice.
Sick.
You will get a purpose in life.
It's like a family to me.
Yeah,
they're like a real family to me.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was also quite this guy was seen as Shoko Asahara was seen as like a guru, right? He was seen as a prophet essentially, and enlightened like Jesus basically. And people were following him in the adventure of like a new life and a more meaningful life, which Shoko was the bearer of.
Okay, yeah. So they were invested in him as the leader more than anything, really.
Exactly right. But then in 1995 came the infamous Tokyo subway attack. This is what kind of finished them off. It was meant to be their crowning glory, but it kind of fucked them off. Rush hour, Tokyo subway. You've probably seen pictures and videos of people being crammed onto those subway stations. You know how busy it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think maybe 4 or 5 cult members entered the station, each carrying sarin gas. They boarded the trains, and released the sarin gas into the trains. 13 people were killed. Thousands were injured. Horrific. Horrific. The actual gas was filled in these plastic bags, and then they used umbrellas to pop the bags and released it. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I mean, their grand plan was supposed to trigger the apocalypse. That's what they thought this would do, because it would kill so many people. It would kill like millions, and then they'd blame it on America, and then that would start World War III, essentially, was the premise of it.
What the hell? So what kind of gas was this then? So like, how was it one that could...
Sarin gas. Okay,
and is that like...
The nerve agent, so it fucks with your the electric stuff that goes through your nerves, you know?
Yeah, it's odorless kind of liquid. Yeah, a nerve agent.
And then if you fuck with that, like your lungs and stuff obviously aren't getting the little triggers to tell them to have a breath, and your heart and stuff.
Oh shit. And then they were hoping that would kind of spread through the subway onto different carriages and become a much bigger...
It's a bit of a closed system, isn't it? There's nowhere, not a lot of fresh air.
Oh, that's scary, that, isn't it? You know, you're just on your way to work one day and you've got this coordinated attack from a blind wizard's cult that's...
Stuff for nightmares.
It's not... Yeah, it's not good, that. Crazy. You want to be able to just get on the tube and go and do your job without the fear of that.
No, really, really crazy. But yeah, big nasty headline. 13 people died. Obviously horrendous that 13 people died, but it could have been, they were aiming for millions. Fucked it a bit. Behind the scenes, though, Asahara had other quieter ways of keeping his flock in line. And surprise, surprise, it involved scran. Specifically, miserable fucking soup. Or even less than soup some days.
But we're in Japan here. They're a country that prides themselves on their great ingredients, their fresh produce, and their artisanal way of crafting delicious dishes. If there's one cult that's going to get food right, I'd have imagined it's Aum Shinrikyo.
Hit that. Love that. Brilliant. No, you're fucking dead wrong. It was bleak, mate. Really bleak. I mean, you've been good. Here's half a carrot. You've sinned. Enjoy your invisible dinner.
What did he refer to it as, an invisible dinner? Because that's actually kind of funny.
No.
Here's your invisible dinner. Wizard Society. Trust me, it's a sirloin steak. It's lovely. Peppercorn sauce.
But like I said, the ingredients in Japan are great. I could eat buckets of just plain white rice. So the bar's low in Japan for something that's edible and satiating. He didn't have to try hard. He could have just given people rice and a bit of sauce. Done. Boom. Well,
that is what they kind of ate. They lived communally in compounds, and they ate small portions of rice, miso soup, and boiled vegetables. That was best case scenario.
Okay.
But this isn't Michelin star rice. They're not perfectly fucking cooking it till it's got a bit of a bite. It's schlop. Yeah, exactly. It's schlop. Yeah. Okay. They're not going to Wagamama's to get the miso soup. They're not doing that. It's go, go, go. World War III's happening. If you were being purified, though, so if you were going through the state of becoming purified within the cults, you would be allowed a single grain of rice per day.
That's what's the point.
1 grain. You might as well just not have it, right? Well, what are you doing with that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just going to make you feel hungry.
Your body's going to chew something, and it's going to release those kind of signals to your stomach. Something's coming, and you're going to get a little bit of something.
Oh, it's 1 grain. What? What you doing?
What you doing? Yeah, you're better off just not having anything and just not even giving any signals to your body that there's any incoming food at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Quoting from Rin Ushiyama in his essay Aum Shinrikyo and Religious Terrorism in Japanese Collective Memory, this is what he had to say around the eating habits.
Residing in shared dormitories with minimal personal belongings, they lived on a strict vegetarian diet of 1 meal a day. Corporal punishment for transgressions was common. In a ritual known as cleansing karma, kuruma otoshi, transgressors beat themselves or were beaten with bamboo swords. Sleep was generally discouraged as a sign of laziness.
I mean, there's certain bits about this that sound cool, but that sounds shit. I was all about being a wizard until it came to beating me with bamboo sticks and give me a grain of rice.
Yeah, well, sleep was generally discouraged as a sign of laziness. But again, going back to that notion of cult leaders doing something that is Jim Jones having a steak and his full fat Coke. Yep. He's blind. His eyes are closed. He can be sleeping and we won't even know it.
That is true.
Throughout the day, we've got no idea. And then he's whacking us with bamboo swords when we try and have a sleep.
But young sapien, how will you become purified if you're not following this diet, young sapien?
Well, I'm going to be fit for nothing if I can't have a bit of kib.
That is true.
Not even
Well,
purification.
you will be fit for nothing, young sapien, if you're not purified when the end of days come.
Fine, I'll make a bucket of cyanide.
All right then.
All right, I'll make you a bomb or two.
There were also reports of members being fed absolutely nothing but weak broth for days on end, which, broth in itself, I don't know, it's good for probably like risotto or something like that, but weak broth.
Yeah,
What's
weak
the
broth's
problem?
another one. Bit of collagen in there. They might have had, glowing skin. I guess that's nice.
One of the benefits, the bruised, beaten bamboo skin. But it's glowing.
It's glowing. It's smooth.
And if you broke a rule, chewed too loudly, thought of something impure, they'd be denied food entirely.
How do they know what you're thinking?
I can get behind it.
Stop it, man. He's
You can't see, but you can see
Magic.
into your mind. I
the
can
wizard,
get
isn't it?
behind if you're chewing loudly, no food. I'm on board
Yep.
with that. They're swinging
What about-
me into the cult at this point because I fucking hate loud eaters.
What about if you're eating so loudly that you were locked in a room, starved for weeks, and force-fed drugs to induce hallucinations and therefore spiritual growth? Is that
That sounds reasonable to me. If you've been a sloppy jaw boy, then get yourself in that room, shovel some drugs down you, and repent.
That's exactly what they were doing. They were feeding them and themselves. They were all fucking high as tits on LSD and crazy drugs, hallucinating to fuck, whilst also starving themselves.
Wow,
To achieve spiritual growth.
that's I'm colour me interested is what I'll say.
A bit of an aside, but something probably worth chatting about. Celibacy was the norm within Aum Shinrikyo.
I'm out.
Although
He was so over it. And the second you said that, I'm out. No.
I'm done with that. Silly little going on.
married couples were actually permitted to live together, but marriage was only permitted with Shoko's blessing. And while celibacy was strictly enforced for the ordinary members of the cult,
I bet he was shagging, wasn't he, the dirty little bugger?
he was the exception.
Yeah, of course he was.
He had sexual relations with pretty much every member of the cult. All the female devotees, known as Dakini, claiming that he was conducting tantric initiation rituals.
Wow.
Of course he was. Tantric initiation rituals.
Got him on the technicality there, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's got
I've got to do it. Oh, I fucking hate this. Oh,
don't make the rules.
yeah. I don't make the rules. Well, okay, I do, but we all follow them. We all follow them, don't we?
Did I mention I'm blind? I can't see you sucking me off anyway, so you might as well do it.
You might as well.
You might as well. Come on now. So yeah, his logic was less food equals less desire equals more enlightenment. Starve the body, feed the soul. Classic cult playbook. We've seen this
Time and
throughout,
time
I
again.
think, pretty much every cult we've looked at so far.
Yeah, but he's a bit of a chunky boy, this Shoko. He
we'll
clearly
get
is
to
not
his
abstaining himself.
Yeah, well, we'll see about.
Or has he just got big bones?
Maybe he's just got big bones. Wizards famously have big bones.
You've got to hold on to the power of magic. You've got to have solid, girthy bones.
I channel my magic through my moobs.
That's what helps him levitate. The power of the move.
No. This is where you're wrong. There was no extraction during sexual intercourse for Shoko. It was all tantric edging.
Oh, right. Okay.
He never gets to give it.
Oh, stop.
Stop now. Yeah.
Stop now.
He'd never tip over that edge. He'd always just sit on the edge.
Gooning, essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That's mad.
Because if he did release, it would weaken the soul and he wouldn't be able to levitate and he wouldn't be able to do everything else that he's doing, enlighten folk. So he needs to keep everything inside of himself.
You see, this is the thing. Like, you're saying these are all like educated folk, proper engineers, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Would they just been like, oh yeah, you say you can have a mate, go on then, show us? Like, because they never saw it, right? Other than the pictures. Were they just like willfully ignorant?
This is a weird time in Japan, right? Because they've obviously lost the war, and their whole religion before losing, well, they had an emperor, right? Before they lost the war.
Yeah.
And their whole religion revolved around the emperor and the emperor being godlike.
Mm-hmm.
And I think during this time after the war, I think a couple of 10, 20 years after the war, I'm not sure the exact dates, is when the emperor basically comes out and says, look, I'm not a god, and kind of steps down. It's becoming, so all of these people that followed this religion were out on the fucking streets looking for something to believe in and a god and a new religion.
And they found this blind
fat boy
bastard.
wizard, king of edging.
Just comes in and he's like, I promise you, I know it seems weird, but I'm sent from God. I know I seem deficient in some ways, but I'm godlike.
Yeah.
I swear.
I love how you described that emperor that stepped down as well. As like he had he ruled for a long time and then stepped down at the end and was like, by the way, I was never a god.
Yeah, basically what he did.
I was kidding the whole time.
Yeah.
Just joking.
Yeah.
You actually thought I was a god?
Yeah. Just love the backtrack on that.
Yeah.
When he can't be asked doing all of his emperor duties. He's like, I'm not actually a god.
I was a god until they invented nukes. And now I don't fuck with that shit anymore. Like, you know what? It was all a big joke.
I'm out. Yeah. They also had Aum Shinrikyo quite bizarre rituals around food. We've spoken about the fasting for days, but one of the weirder ones that they had after the fasting, they'd consume these specially blessed meals. They were blessed by Aum, maybe seasoned with some of his bathwater, which he did actually people drank. They had these specially blessed meals which were meant to open up spiritual portals, which obviously they didn't, but that's a cool thing. You know?
Which obviously they didn't.
Sorry, I thought for a second.
Just in case he actually was a wizard. He wasn't.
Yeah, sorry, I edged you there, didn't I?
Yeah. Proper does.
Yeah.
Is that where the comes from, by the way? Yeah, the textbook yoga is that where it comes from?
Dalai Lama, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Okay. Another wizard. Sorry, got my wizards confused.
No, I'm not. No, I don't think there's any relation. I feel like they were doing that way before.
Fair. I just didn't know if it was going to be, drinking the Kool-Aid such, where it's like anything in life, it's probably from a cult.
Did I tell you about my water bowl? It makes a bit of that noise. Did I do that when we were away?
Give us it.
Suck my cock.
Wow. That's beautiful, mate. We've just had a little meditative moment on the show. Wow, first time for everything.
Kill yourself. Ride the comet.
We're just trying to have a meditative moment and you come in with the kill yourself. Fuck me. Okay, well, there you have it.
But here's the punchline with or maybe the gut punchline. So while his followers, we've already noticed it, right? While his followers were wasting away on rice grains and wishful thinking, Basta Asahara, the enlightened one, he was getting fat. Seriously fat.
He was bulking, wasn't he?
Okay, and the man was massive, a proper unit, visibly obese by the end.
Wow. Which
it makes you wonder, how doth one get so chubby on a grain of rice?
Oh, he's doing way more than a grain of rice, I'd say.
It's all the magic building up in him.
Question. Yeah, absolutely. That's the answer. It's all the edging he's been doing. He's just full of cum.
Full of cum.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's just a big bag of cum.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Stab him with an umbrella.
Yeah.
Release it.
No, the answer he wasn't. While his followers were hallucinating over vegetables, Asahara was scoffing down full meals in private. Rich, protein-heavy, high-calorie food. We're talking meats, sweets, secret snacks, the lot. The guy was basically living like Henry VIII.
Wow.
Whilst everyone else was serfs. I read, I'm not sure if it was a full-length book, but it might be like an interview piece from his chauffeur who would actually drive him out to these restaurants.
In public? He wasn't even like just squirreling away
he was doing it in public, but in private, if that makes sense. So like he'd go into a restaurant and have like his own booth and people.
Oh, okay. So he didn't get caught with a whopper in his hands.
Japanese society, paparazzi aren't really a thing.
Yeah, they're very, very respectful.
Exactly.
And look what it leads to. You know what the life lesson is there? Be a bit of a cunt. Be a bit intrusive. Because otherwise you're going to get fat blind men trying to bring around the apocalypse. Stick your nose in things, listeners.
Yep. Spot on, mate. So there isn't much in English that I could find on kind of survivor stories unfortunately, but to quote again from Rin Ushiyama's excellent book on the subject.
Using information provided by former aides and written instructions about his meals, the media described Shoko Asahara's daily habits, such as eating out at expensive restaurants and what he would eat while travelling, which, contrary to his Buddhist principles, included meat and fish dishes.
This stinky, blind mountain wizard is eating good while his folks are starving.
Again,
1 grain of rice.
Same with the hovering thing. These people are supposed to be smart. Are they not questioning? Excuse me, mate. You may be blind, so you maybe can't see it, but you're getting a bit tubby. What's going on there, mate?
It's power.
And drugs.
It's powerful. He's achieved full purity.
Yeah. Wow.
Also, they just wouldn't dare question the prophet.
Yeah, facts, actually.
Because he did actually torture a lot of people. One of his torture methods was dropping them in boiling water. Only slightly boiling, though.
Okay.
Oh my God. That sounds like some ancient torture method, that.
Yeah, he loved it. He loved it. A lovely little quote from a BBC article on the attack reads,
Former cult members have testified that they paid handsomely for rituals involving Asahara's hair and bathwater, despite the group urging followers to reject materialism. One described paying more than £6,115,000 or $8,100 in 1988 for a blood initiation where he drank what was said to be the leader's blood.
That's minging.
pretty minging, isn't it?
Bathwater, bad enough. Blood, you fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So like Jonestown, used food to punish, to isolate, and to dominate. But added a little extra spice. You know, he's a wizard after all. He added a little spiritual gaslighting into the mix. You weren't starving because the leader was cruel. You were starving because you were unpure.
It's on you.
That's the genius of it.
Wow.
They made you believe that your suffering was your fault. You weren't hungry because they were withholding food. You were hungry because your soul wasn't ready for fullness.
You've done a good job there to convince people that their natural biology is just them not being pure and enlightened.
Yeah. It's like Slimming World run by Voldemort.
Yeah.
Slimming World run by Voldemort.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly.
So yeah, a bowl of soup, a scoop of rice doesn't sound so bad until it becomes a moral performance, a barometer of your worth. If your cult leader ever says, you don't need dinner, you need devotion. Again, like we said before, just run. Even if
Get
you
out of there.
fight, just run away, run fast.
Do you know what I'd say to that? Give me dinner, you'll get my devotion.
Well, give me dinner.
Give me dinner.
You get
Give
my
me
devotion.
dinner.
Go on, give me dinner.
Give me dinner, get my devotion.
Simple trade. That's
Equal
fair enough.
trade. That's a barter system. I like it.
But it's not pure though, that is it?
It's not pure.
It's not pure, it's not enlightened.
So yeah, that is Aum Shinrikyo. Next, to our final entry of today's episode. It's the Mormons. It's our
Mormons.
mates, the Mormons.
The bloody Mormons.
The Church of the Latter-day Saints.
Excuse me, Mel, it's the full title. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
My bad.
Technically not a cult anymore, unless you ask kind of ex-members, you know, maybe.
They are a cult because I've got a bloody church up the road from me.
Yeah,
Got a
you were
church
putting
on my street.
at your door, weren't they?
Yeah, they came round the other day. Hey, it was like two young girls. And they were like, hey there, can we invite you to the sermon on Easter Sunday? I was like, no,
No,
I'm all right.
you can't.
And they were like, well, you're welcome anytime you want to come to a sermon. Have a fantastic Easter. Bye.
Oh, that's kind of nice, though. At least they didn't chew your ear off about...
No, and they left us with a card.
I had a lad knock on the door the other day. I didn't get a word in edge. He spoke for like 25 minutes about homeless kids. Couldn't get him to leave quick enough. Just kept chatting away.
Yeah, it's hard to get them to stop, isn't it?
So Mormonism, or the Church of Jesus, they don't like to be called Mormons, just FYI.
So they're not.
Yeah, they hate to be called Mormons. They don't call themselves Mormons.
Bit of a slur.
Yeah. So the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the LDS Church, was founded in the 1800s by a grave robber by the name of Joseph Smith. Controversial bloke.
Not a good start.
Joseph Smith claimed that he'd found the golden plates buried in upstate New York that told the real story of Christianity, but with a lot more American frontier energy and significantly more underwear.
That's what I was going to say. They thought Jesus made it to America, didn't they, or something like that? Don't they think that?
Yeah, so when he So I believe the story is when he died over Easter.
Yeah.
Is it 3 days?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because you start on Good Friday, don't you?
Yeah. So he goes to America in those 3 days.
Wow.
And if you think about it, they didn't have planes back then, so he couldn't have just grabbed a plane from Bethlehem over to. He is a wizard, isn't he? He is
He flew on Pegasus.
I think we're mixing up our mythologies here, but he might have taken Pegasus.
Yeah. Or the tomb was actually a tunnel.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. No, you could
Isn't that just like stereotypical kind of American
centric
way of thinking?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
But yeah, so he found these golden plates and the angel Moroni came down and told him the story of the plates and the story of Christianity, told him that nobody else would be allowed to see the plates, otherwise their eyes would burn out. Then he had to be the prophet, which is convenient.
Yeah, that is super convenient.
But anyway, it's a quite strange starting point. They had a bit of a rocky start, but it quickly evolved into kind of a strict, community-based, highly organized religion with quite an impressive real estate portfolio and a bit of a thing for polygamy as well. But they've distanced themselves from that these days, at least officially. They have these things every so often. I'm not sure if they're called revelations. They might be called revelations.
I think they are, yeah.
It's essentially like updates to what they believe in, and they tend to just change depending on what society is adapting to.
It's pretty convenient, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think recently they obviously had the revelation around polygamy. You shouldn't be doing that anymore. That's not good. I think they now allow black people into the church, maybe. I think that was a revelation.
I think they had a revelation about gay people being not absolutely shit, maybe.
Yeah, they can't be members though.
No, but like they're not devil spawn like they might have thought before.
Yeah. But your average kind of Mormon church today, squeaky clean families, as you have seen, Miles. Big shiny buildings, maybe a bit corporate.
Very.
But then you've got the fringes, the fundamentalist LDS or the FLDS. These guys are still rocking the 19th century vibe. Think polygamy, bonnets, total obedience to the prophet. And this is where the food situation goes a bit quirky.
What's this polygamy? Is that multiple wives?
Yeah,
thing?
multiple wives. Yeah, you can take multiple women to be your wife, and they sometimes live under the same roof, but often will live in adjoining houses. Yeah, exactly. And you can choose to spend nights with any of them.
Wednesday I'm with you. Thursday I'm with you.
I might take those girls' invite up and go to a session and ask around if anyone's, are you guys part of the old shit or the new shit?
Ah, okay.
I'm looking for a fringe group for the old shit because I want some of that polygamy.
Joe's going to hear this. Do you understand that, right?
Yeah. Just going around the congregation. New shit or old shit?
What are you into?
Old shit.
Did you get the update? Downloaded it yet or no? Still on the old one. Nice.
I want pre-revelation.
I mean,
pre. So the food, the basics, okay? So Mormons are famously clean living, thanks to something called the Word of Wisdom.
Sounds good.
Basically, it's God's healthy eating guide. It kind of bans the fun stuff, booze, fags, coffee, and tea.
Ugh.
Yes, tea, actual tea, an entire religion built on denying a cuppa.
That's crazy.
I'm fairly sure Jesus in Jerusalem would have been sipping on a form of tea in his life.
Maybe, but apparently not. Monsters, these guys. Might as well ban them like breathing.
I thought you were saying that instead of tea, they just drink Monsters.
Monster ultra white only.
Yeah, ultra white. It's pure, zero sugar.
yeah, exactly. But no, not Monsters. They are monsters.
Okay.
For banning, denying tea.
That's fair. That's a fair show.
Forget your Builder's Brew, your pint down the pub, your cheeky G&T at the weekend. It's water. Maybe some approved herbal infusions. And if you're lucky, postum. You guys know what postum is? Have you ever heard of postum?
Postum? No.
So it's a roasted grain drink.
Oh, okay.
Probably
sound great.
It tastes like exactly what you imagine.
I thought grains would come into it. I feel like Mormons and grains go hand in hand.
Yeah, they love grain.
Isn't like the most Mormon state like Ohio, which is just pure field. It's like it's
a Salt Lake, isn't it?
Salt Lake, yeah, it's Utah.
That's one of their cities. Utah. Same different. 4 letters.
Yeah.
Shitload of fields full of grains. Roast them, drink them.
Yeah. Well, I think Salt Lake City is literally like a Mormon city, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like they're kind of...
I think normies live there now, but yeah, back in the day, like it used to be pure.
Founded by Mormons.
Like highest, like concentrated group of Mormons in America, I think.
So yeah, pretty grim. Restricting a lot of good stuff like coffee. You can't have coffee. What the fuck's that about?
Oh,
Sad.
Yeah. But their big focus is preparedness. Every devout Mormon household is taught to, number 1, stockpile a full year's worth of food. Number 2, maintain a rotating food storage system. And number 3, regularly eat from their stockpile so it doesn't expire. So this means wheat, buckets of wheat and grains, barrels of beans, tins of peaches, mylar bags of dried milk, rows of like an apocalypse pantry, essentially, ready for economic collapse, war, or at worst, for your case, Dom, local Tesco running out of squashies.
Fuck. What's even the point?
Fuck, no squashies.
So they're kind of apocalypse preppers in a way then.
Doomsday.
Yeah, for sure. And it all comes from their president, or the 13th president, who was Ezra Taft Benson.
Good name.
This is how he put it.
Today I emphasize a most basic principle: home production and storage. Have you ever paused to realize what would happen to your community or nation if transportation were paralyzed, or if we had a war or depression? How would you and your neighbors obtain food? How long would the corner grocery store or supermarket sustain the needs of the community?
I love the Colonel Sanders flair that you gave.
Yeah, you slapped that. Depression.
Favorite herbs and spices on your chicken.
On your chicken. Right. Ezra Taft Benson. Yeah, he's got a fair point. You know, we all saw it in COVID when there was kind of mass hysteria and panic and there was no toilet roll. People can get any toilet roll. Supermarkets and local shops, they do have a limit to what stock they've got available. And if there was a mass panic situation, shops would run dry.
Yeah, and they'd be in a bit of a pickle. Or
they would.
Spot of bother.
And the people that stockpiled would have pickles. So there you go.
Very
nice.
true.
Yes, exactly.
True.
So Mormons, they're fucking ready for it. You know, another pandemic rolls around, locust plague comes about. We're due on any day now. They're ready for it.
I'm going up to the sermon because that's where I get all my shit.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's a bit worrying, isn't it, that these are the kind of people that would start the next human race. You know, like the new human race.
Yeah.
But it's quite a weird thing. It's like, you know, stockpiling of the food. It's like about obedience, I believe, like faith, trusting God. It's kind of a bit of a holy act. You're not just hoarding kidney beans. You're demonstrating piety via pulses. You're finding God in a 50-kilo sack of wheat.
Yeah, it's a bit bizarre. So it's a weird angle they've chosen to go down with that one.
Strange one, isn't it? Strange one.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I wonder if there's...
whatever tickles them.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any like videos on YouTube from Mormons who, you know, during COVID are just like, I'll see you. You guys, no toilet roll. I've got fucking loads, fuck off. You know, probably getting stuck in.
Speaking of those fundamentalist communities, though, they take things a bit further. So members are often put on super restrictive diets as a form of punishment or discipline if they disobey the various teachings. Women, especially, are expected to maintain a quiet, minimalistic, almost monastic lifestyle. So Miles, another little tick box for you there. Yeah,
sounding good to me.
Yeah, it's all sounding good.
Stockpile food and shag bitches.
And shut up.
And shut up.
It might be sounding nice at the moment, Miles, but there are some pretty nasty stories involving extreme calorie restriction for kids so that they obey.
Obeyed. Obeyed me, boy.
Saint obeyed me.
It's been a day. Obey, obviously, is what I meant to say.
No, obeyed.
No.
You meant
They
what
suddenly
you said.
obey and they don't come obese. That's what I was trying to say.
Nice.
Pretty horrendous. Like extreme calorie restriction for kids.
I'm not laughing at that. Should have put that out there. I'm still laughing at the previous point.
No, you're laughing at children struggling to eat.
You moved too quickly into kids being abused, and I'm still laughing at the previous point. So I just really want to take the moment to clarify.
that you don't find child abuse hilarious.
Exactly.
Right, settle yourself.
Sorry.
Right. Get into the grim bits.
Obeyed me. Communal meals became, or have become, kind of a bit of rigid power plays. Who eats first? Who eats last? Spoiler alert: the wives eat last. Who gets the decent bits? Spoiler alert: probably not the women. Essentially, using the dinner table to enforce a fucked up hierarchy within the family. Still laughing, Miles.
I love women abuse too.
For God's sake.
God, Milo, I didn't know that you were so dark.
Laughing at just the irony, like, of course, it's the women who just don't get treated well enough. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
No exception with the Mormons.
No exception. But all of it is wrapped up in religious justification, kind of like in a way. You know, you're not hungry, you're humble. You're not cold, you're being cleansed. You're not deprived, you're divinely prepared. All wrapped up in that neat little religious bow. So I was interested to learn more about the whole coffee malarkey, because they don't drink coffee. And I wanted to see whether it was actually something that Joseph Smith actually directly said, don't drink it. Well, I whipped out the Mormon doctrine, which is a fucking great place to be. Turned to the words of wisdom, 1-9, and was greeted by the following passage.
And again, strong drinks are not for the belly, but for the washing of your bodies. And again, tobacco is not for the body, neither for the belly, and is not good for man. And again, hot drinks are not for the body or belly.
There you go. Hot drinks.
Hot drinks.
No
What
hot
a
drinks.
sad little life.
So those two young women that came and knocked on my door to invite me to an Easter Sunday sermon.
Should have offered him a tea. Come on in for a tea. Come and tell me more.
No, they don't have hot drinks.
I would have scared him
A
off.
cigarette and a coffee.
God, they'd explode, mate. Wouldn't be able to do that.
Oh God, no.
Just go running
Run away.
away.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's not for the belly.
But we're talking about the kind of break-off niche Mormons here, aren't we? This isn't.
No, these are the ones that set it all
this
up,
is
Bod.
all-
These are the
yeah,
fundamentalists.
it's all-
These are the ones that were the OGs.
All
God.
Mormons don't drink coffee.
Proper shit, that.
Cheers for that great analysis of that point.
Well, that's just really sad for them.
Yeah.
It is. No, it is really shit. Really, really shit.
Bet they get now done.
Can they have yerba mate?
No, it's hot.
Oh yeah, hot drink.
Hot drink.
But iced tea. Well, they can't have tea, can they?
Get
can't
the
say.
technicalities out.
Oh
Yeah, it's
God.
a strong drink.
This is why monsters are their thing. Because you get your caffeine and it's cold. No, it's cold. It's not a hot drink,
It's
bro.
strong. Yeah, no, they can't do it.
I'm out. This is another one I'm out on.
Yeah, no, me too. But you see the lengths I go to for this podcast. I actually look through the fucking
That's crazy, bro.
Mormon manuscripts, sleuthing through this boring as fuck drivel.
Kenny's like, what are you doing, Andy? You thinking of joining, or what's what's going on here?
But yeah, no hot drinks, no strong drinks, no fun, essentially. To continue the passage.
And again, verily I say unto you, all wholesome herbs God hath ordained for the constitution, nature, and use of man, every herb in the season thereof, and every fruit in the season thereof. All these to be used with prudence and thanksgiving. Yea, flesh also of beasts, and of the fowls of the air. I, the Lord, have ordained for the use of man with thanksgiving. Nevertheless, they are to be used sparingly.
So again, you can eat what you want, but moderation.
Well,
Do it sparingly. Some crazy kind of words in there. Ye just throws that in there. Constitution, nature, and use of man. Well, it kind of reads to me like someone purposely trying to make it sound like it's a message that's come from God.
yeah.
I feel
You know what I mean? It's like,
Clever marketing.
yeah, the prompt you'd give GPT for that is like, make it sound like a proverb, but write me this.
What I want it to say.
Yeah, and then it's kind of just, yeah.
Do you reckon that's going to be a thing in our lifetime? A little AI cult?
Obviously. 100%. It's got to happen.
What, just like fighting for the rights of AI and just doing everything it tells them to do?
Well, just
exactly.
somebody being in charge of the AI, but like the amount of guff that you can pump out with AI.
So you can't mention Mormon food culture without discussing Jell-O. You boys big fans of Jell-O? Do you have a lot of jelly?
That's what we call jelly, innit?
Yeah.
It's just
I was
Jell-O.
a fan of it when I was about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Loved it at parties, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, little kids' parties. It's like a mainstay, isn't it? You know,
It's fun to make, innit? You know, when you get those concentrate cubes, you add the hot water and you mix it and then you let it cool and it goes all, I love that.
That fun?
Yeah, it's fun, mate. Yeah.
When was the last time you had it?
Oh, when I was about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I've not had jelly for a long time. If you count the jelly in a pork pie the other day.
I don't. So, no. Incredible.
Yeah, not something I eat very regularly. But like a lot of people that are kind of like watching their weight eat like sugar-free jelly, don't they? For like a low-calorie dessert type thing.
Well, Utah actually consumes more lime jello per capita than anywhere else.
Specifically lime.
Specifically lime. They love the lime flavour. It is so iconic, in fact, that it was declared Utah's official state snack in 2001 by law.
By law?
By law.
That's not what you want your lawmakers to be spending time doing. Why are we enacting laws that enforce what the national snack is? That's crazy.
Yeah, but like in the same way that Yorkshire might champion the Yorkshire pudding, you know, theirs is the lime flavoured jello.
Jello. Yeah, but this is where your imagination is not profound enough. This isn't your standard school dinner jelly cube. No. We're talking lime jello with shredded carrots, orange jello with mini marshmallows, raspberry jello with whipped cream.
One of them isn't like the other.
green jello salads that contain pineapple, cottage cheese, and other salad leaves.
We're
bunch of wrong-uns.
Yeah, we're in fucking Willy Wonka's jello fucking shop here.
Lime jello with shredded carrot, did you say, is the first one? No, fuck off. That's a vile concoction and a horrible texture in your mouth.
It's like carrot cake, isn't it?
Lime and carrot, are they flavours that go together?
That's good for you, though. I get scurvy on that, yeah.
You're not. Well, it depends if it's made with real fruit. Wow, okay. Wow. Jello. No.
Jello, yeah. But they wheel it out constantly. Someone dies, Jello casserole. Someone gets married, Jello tower. Family reunion, Jello tinned fruit.
No. Are you for real here?
No,
are we doing a plot again?
Yeah, these seems plobby to me.
No. It's real. It's 100%. It's a religious mood stabilizer for these Mormons. The Mormon approach to food isn't about denial in the same way that Jonestown or Aum Shinrikyo is. It's about discipline and preparedness, quietly reinforcing a worldview where you rely on God and God alone. The mainstream LDS church frames it as faith. The fringe groups frame it more as obedience. But in both cases, food becomes proof that you're one of the good ones. You store what they tell you to store. You eat what they say is righteous. You prepare for a disaster that might never come, just in case your spiritual insurance policy needs activating. Not flashy, but it's kind of culty, deeply culty at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Culty understand.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, on the surface, casseroles, green jelly, polite chats about meal prep. Underneath, it's a quiet but powerful message. Eat like we say, or be spiritually unprepared. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our deep dive into the cults, into 4 of the main cults. We may do more, depending on how this episode goes. If you guys like it, if you want us to do more, there are plenty more cults out there. We could even spend a whole fucking episode going through the Instagram wellness gurus. I feel like that would be
that'd be cool.
Interesting. There's also the breatharians. Have you guys heard of these guys? This is a bunch of folk that believe that you can survive on nothing but air and sunlight.
Okay.
Have a day off, lads.
Have you guys heard of Nexium? Spelled N-X-I-V-M.
Yes, I have. These guys are really weird. Isn't their leader, he's in prison at the moment, I believe, for massive fraud. Yes. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah,
that's the one. These guys, starvation diets, 500 calories a day. There's loads we could do. But right now, I want some votes. Figure it out which cult that we ran through today and last week had the worst diet. We've got Jonestown, we've got Heaven's Gate, we've got Aum Shinrikyo, and we've got the Mormons.
I'm going with the lads just having a grain of rice because I feel like that's a bit of a kick in the teeth. Like gets you going. Yeah.
Aum Shinrikyo, that's where you're going. Okay.
I think so. I mean, they were all pretty grim. None were good.
I'm going for People's Temple. I'm going for Jonestown. Backbreaking work in the heat, and you're having proper shit rice and beans whilst your fat prick of a leader has steaks and full fat Pepsi.
Yeah, you are onto something there actually, because they're working up an appetite. Like clearing the jungle is a bugger. Like, making a bit of nerve gas in the lab. You've got to concentrate, but it's not back-breaking work, is it?
Exactly.
So you might be onto something there actually.
Sure. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Jonestown for me is definitely up there. Close behind Aum Shinrikyo.
I think they're all close. They're all very close. They're all very shit in their own way.
I think that they're all just a fucking bunch of weirdos. That's what I've got to say on a lot of them.
Right. Yeah. And on that note, if this episode has taught you anything, just read the menu before joining any religion.
Yeah, our menu is going to be great. So for our cult, you've got to eat a bowl of beef Shinrikyo every day, minimum.
Every day.
Minimum.
Yeah.
At least one bowl.
Upon waking.
Yeah, squashies. There's just a bowl of them on the side. You just help yourself whenever you're ready, whenever you want one. And what we having for swigs?
The beef shin was to appease me. The squashies were to appease you. Okay. And I think Andy...
Do what you having?
What's Andy's at?
Black coffee on tap.
Yeah, that would be good. Black coffee on
yogurt.
tap. Yogurt. Yeah, kefir. Kefir is what we're having.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Cleanse with kefir.
Cool, okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds like a good cult to me.
But that's a wrap.
Right, well, thank you so much for listening. If you are a paid subscriber at this point and you've listened to this episode early, thank you for being here.
You lucky little bugger.
I hope you enjoyed that. And for regular listeners, we'll be back next week with another episode. So, massive thank you. If you enjoyed that, please give the episode a rating wherever you listen. Feel free to drop us a line if you want to chat or you want to recommend a topic. You can do that at whatthefoodpodcast@gmail.com. And again, if you enjoy the show, the best thing you can do is just to share it with a friend or someone you think that would enjoy it. Word of mouth is the best way for podcasts to grow. And if you could do that for us, that would be massively appreciated. So that's it from us. We'll see you soon for the next episode. Thanks for listening, guys.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.